Have you ever felt that thrill, that heart-pounding anticipation as the lights swell, hoping, praying for that top-tier character? That, my friends, is the magic and madness of gacha games. But you already know that, otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? Or maybe you're just interested in the gacha history. A multi-billion dollar industry that has captivated, and let's be honest, frustrated billions of players worldwide, including your truly. But where did all this begin? How did we go from a simple childhood toy to complex digital worlds with their own economies and controversy? That's right, folks. Today we are going all the way back to the very beginning, tracing the lineage of these digital slot machines from their humble physical origins to the multi-billion dollar industry that is today. We'll explore the innovations that shaped them, the controversies that rocked them, and maybe, just maybe, understand why we keep coming back for more. So buckle up, because this is the story of how gacha games spawned their way into our hearts and phones. Let's be honest though, for most of us, there are two very big and round reasons why we keep coming back for more. Am I right? So where did all this begin? Well, before they were digital waifus and husbandos, they were, well, plastic toys in a capsules. Yes, I'm talking about gachapons. Those magical machines that have been a staple of Japanese culture since the 1960s. But before we get into the history of gachapons, we need to first talk about the real grandfather of gacha that came way before them and are technically still gachas, trading cards. And even before that, the very human impulse that makes gachas compelling. Good old sweet gambling. Let's face it, gacha is basically another form of gambling. You're just throwing a dice and hope that instead of winning big money, you win a big mama or waifu or husbando. The thrill of the unknown, the risk, and the reward, it's a tale as old as time. The earliest forms of gambling date back way thousands of years ago. We're talking about dice games in Mesopotamia, lotteries in China used to fund massive projects, and yes, even betting on gladiator fights in the Roman Colosseum. The desire to test fate, and of course luck, is deeply ingrained into human nature. This brings us to the more direct ancestor of the gacha mechanics, the trading cards, which were essentially small illustrated advertisements. But the real game changer came when companies started putting these cards in packs of cigarettes and candy. Nailing all the age demographics, aren't we? These cards featured everything from athletes and actors to historical events and military equipment. The genius was in the packaging. You never knew which card you were going to get, so you'd keep buying packs to complete your set. Sounds familiar? This has created a collecting and trading craze that has lasted over a century, from baseball cards to Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards. The core loop of buying a randomized pack in the hopes of getting a rare and valuable item is the same fundamental principle that drives the gacha games we play today. The brainchild of Japanese entrepreneur Ryuzo Shigeta, gachapon machines were an evolution of American candy dispensers. But instead of gum, they held a world of miniature collective toys in plastic capsules. The genius was in the randomness. You never knew exactly what you would get, and that mystery, that desire to complete the set, was instantly addictive. The name itself is an onomatopoeia mimicking the gacha sound of the crank turning and the bone sound of the capsule dropping. It's a simple concept. You put in a coin, turn in the crank, and get a random toy. In that aspect, not many has changed since then, but let me tell you, the thrill of not knowing what you're going to get is as real with a plastic keychain as it is with a 5-star character. This wasn't just for kids though. With intricate designs and tie-ins with popular animes and manga, gachapons became a cultural touchstone in Japan, a treasure hunt in every convenience stores and arcades. This fundamental loop of spending a small amount for a random, potentially valuable reward is the very DNA of the gacha games we know and love today, and sometimes load depending on our luck. For those of you that are 80s, 90s kids, you know this feeling very damn well, but to put it into perspective for everyone else, think of it like opening a Kinder Surprise egg, and the excitement you felt back then. It's the exact same excitement we feel now when we pull for a 5-star waifu or husbando. Except now most of us pull with our clear and responsible head. Yeah, that's totally what I meant to say. Despite what many may think, Puzzles and Dragons was not the first gacha game ever, though I can see and understand the confusion. Both are about dragons, and the gameplay is very similar. To meet the actual first progenitor of gacha games, we have to go back even further than 2012, when Puzzles and Dragons was released, all the way to September 14th, 2010. The mobile gaming was still finding its footing. And then, BAM! Konami drops a bombshell called Dragon's Collection. I mean, of course it was Konami. Who else would have had an idea like this? This wasn't just a game release though, it was a revolution. It took the gachapon concept and digitized it, creating a free-to-play card battler where you'd grind through quests to get random monsters and items. And if you wanted more, faster, you would have to open up your wallet and pay up. Classic, right? It was a simple yet genius formula that tapped into our primal collector's instincts and our love for a good old-fashioned treasure hunt. Dragon Collection was a massive hit, and it didn't take long for other developers to jump on the gacha bandwagon. Suddenly, we had a whole new genre of games, each with its own unique spin on the gacha mechanic, but with great innovation comes great responsibilities as well as great controversies. Sounds like something familiar that is also happening now with another certain high gacha company, doesn't it? A certain company that people said I pray or I said it's falling in my last video. In 2012, a new, more predatory form of gacha games emerged. Yes, even more predatory than today's gacha games. They were called Complete Gacha or Kompu Gacha. I totally didn't butcher that. Imagine this: to get a super rare, super powerful item, you had to first collect a whole set of other rare items. The first few would be easy to get, but the last one, nearly impossible. It was a system designed to exploit our completionist tendencies, and it didn't take long for the Japanese government to step in. And you know you freaked up when the government has to step in. They declared kompu gacha to be an illegal form of gambling and banned it. This was a huge turning point for the gacha industry, forcing developers to find new, more ethical ways to monetize their gachas. Even with all these new legislations in place though, it took 4 whole years and the huge Granblue controversy, or as it's known, the Monkeygate incident, to happen for PT systems to become mainstream. It just goes to show you two things. Gacha players take a lot of crap and will just say, it's a gacha, of course that's how it works. But spending $6,000 and not getting a single SSR is where we draw the line. Second, and the most important thing, is that even if governments regulate and create legislations, which in most cases are done without thought by people who have no idea what they're trying to legislate, change can only happen when we stand up and demand change to happen. Also, guess what was the first game and company to firstly implement a gacha PT system right after Granblue? That's right, it's our favorite company, MiHoYo, aka HoYoverse, and Honkai Impact Third. And somehow, me saying this is still going to make someone comment saying that I'm dunking on HoYoverse again in a video that's not about HoYoverse. This is where we start to see the gacha mechanics we're more familiar with. To make up for the loss of kompu gacha and to keep players from getting too frustrated, developers introduced PT systems and the Spark system. A PT system is like a safety net that guarantees you a rare item after a certain number of pulls. And a sparking system? That's more like a super PT system where you can directly exchange your pulls for a specific character you want. It's a way of saying, hey, we know you've been spending a lot and you're trying really hard, so here's something for your effort. And as a player who has been on the receiving end of some terrible luck, I can tell you this is a lifesaver. Damn you Merlin, you cock wizard! But the innovations didn't stop there. Developers continued introducing mechanics that both enhance the player engagement and, let's be honest, encourage more spending, of course. We saw the rise of step-up banners, where each pull in a sequence offered increasing chances for rare items or guaranteed rewards, incentivizing players to complete the full sequence. This was often paired with limited time banners featuring exclusive characters or items available for a short period of time, creating that powerful sense of urgency and the dreaded FOMO. Who among us hasn't felt that pang of regret after missing a limited waifu or husbando? Am I right? As players became more vocal about fairness, transparency became a key demand. This led to many gacha games starting to publish their gacha rates, allowing players to see the exact probabilities of pulling a specific items. Yes, if you can believe, there was actually a time when you had no idea what the gacha rate was, and the companies can just say, well, tough luck. This move, often driven by regulatory pressure and player advocacy, aimed to build trust and provide more informed spending decisions. It's a small step, but a crucial one towards a more player-friendly ecosystem. Beyond just the pulling mechanics, The games themselves evolved drastically. Early gacha titles often featured simple 2D sprites, but with the advancement in mobile technology, we witnessed a leap towards stunning live 2D and 3D graphics. Live 2D technology brought static 2D characters art to life, with subtle movements, expressions, and deepening the connection players felt with their digital companions. Soon after, full 3D models and cinematic animations became the standard, transforming gacha games into visually rich experiences that could rival even console titles. This push for higher quality fueled genre's diversification and immersive experiences. Gacha wasn't just for card battles anymore. Games like Fate Grand Order, Granblue Fantasy, and Fire Emblem Heroes pioneered immersive worlds with deep narrative and complex gameplay systems, expanding the gacha mechanic into full-fledged RPGs, tactical strategy games, side-scrolling shooters like Azur Lane, and even simulators. This broadened the appeal of gacha games, attracting players who might not have traditionally engaged with the genre before. And let's not forget the quality of life improvements. Developers keen on retaining players in an increasing competitive market started implementing features designed to reduce the grind and enhance the overall experience. This included auto-battle systems for repetitive tasks, streamlined grinding processes, and more generous free-to-play currency distributions through daily logins, events, and achievements. These improvements aimed to make the games far more accessible and a lot less tiring, allowing the players to focus on the fun stuff. Monetization also continued to evolve beyond just the direct gacha pools, of course. The Battle Pass system, popularized by games like Fortnite, found its way into gacha games, offering a structured progression path with rewards for both free-to-play and whales. And for those who wanted a guaranteed outcome, guaranteed banners began popping up everywhere, ensuring a high rarity character for a set price or after a specific number of pulls, providing a more predictable path to obtaining the desired units. It's like them saying, cheer up, you'll eventually get it, just keep playing or keep spending. But if there was one game that truly redefined the gacha landscape and brought it into the mainstream, it has to be Genshin Impact. Released in 2020 by MiHoYo, now called HoYoverse, Genshin Impact wasn't just another gacha game, it was a paradigm shift. It demonstrated that gacha games could not only just compete, but even surpass AAA games in terms of production value and scope. And ironically, I was a huge MiHoYo shield and fan, playing Honkai Impact 3rd and later Genshin Impact, raising them to high heavens while dunking on Kuro's punishing Grey Raven for being an inferior clone of Honkai Impact 3rd. Genshin Impact's most significant innovation was its vast high-fidelity open-world exploration. This was a level of freedom and immersion previously unseen in gacha games, blurring the lines between mobile gacha games and traditional open-world RPGs. You could spend hours just exploring, solving puzzles, and fighting enemies without even touching the gacha system. Then there was the seamless cross-platform play between mobile, PC, and PlayStation. This wasn't just a convenience, it solidified gacha's position in the mainstream gaming landscape, making it accessible to a far much wider audience. Suddenly, your friends on PC could play with you on your phone and vice versa. The commercial success of Genshin Impact also set a new standard for high production values. Subsequent titles in the gacha space now aspire to similar levels of graphical fidelity, voice acting, and overall polish. The bar was raised up high, and players now expect a premium experience from their gacha games. If you want to know more about this, click the video at the end or in the top right pop-up. And of course, Genshin Impact also refined the PT system, with its PT carrying over, but with that it also brought us the infamous 50-50 system. While PT does indeed carry over between the banners, there is also a 50% chance that you will get the featured character and a 50% chance that you will get a normal standard banner character. If you lose the 50-50 though, your next 5-star is guaranteed to be the featured one, but that initial coin flip loss can lead to immense frustration and for some, increased spending to secure that desired unit. Many tears in frustration have been shed over the lost 50-50, trust me. Finally, the growing popularity and monetization of gacha games, especially after Genshin Impact's success, led to increased regulatory scrutiny and transparency. Governments globally started paying closer attention to the loot box mechanics and their potential similarities to gambling. This pressure has prompted many developers to be even more transparent with their gacha systems, offering clearer rate disclosures and implementing more player-friendly monetization options. This is also why you now see the prices in dollars or your actual currency instead of seeing them in Primogems, Skystones, or whatever other premium currency said gacha uses. It's a slow but necessary shift towards the greater accountability in the industry. But even with all these improvements and groundbreaking successes, the gacha world hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows. We've had our own share of, let's call them, learning experiences. Remember Tribe 9? That game was a masterclass in how not to launch a gacha game. It started off super stingy, then overcorrected, and became too generous, and in the end, it just fizzled out. It was a classic case of a game that probably shouldn't have been a gacha in the first place. If you want to know more about that, watch my video about Tribes 9, Rise and Tragic Fall. And then there was the Infinity Nikki controversy. That was a whole other can of worms. They basically made it harder for you to get the outfits you wanted, and when players complained, they were met with silence and censorship. It was a huge mess, and a reminder that even the most beloved games can make some serious missteps. Leave a comment if you would like to see a follow-up on that video. So now, what's the future of gacha games? Well, if there's one thing we've learned from this history journey, is that the gacha industry is constantly evolving. We've seen it go from the clink of a coin in a Japanese vending machine to a global multi-billion-dollar industry. The history of gacha is a story of innovation, community, and controversy. It's a genre that constantly pushes the boundaries of monetization and player engagement, for better or for worse. The core appeal remains the same as it was in the 1960s, the thrill of the unknown, the joy of collecting, and the satisfaction of finally getting the prize you've been chasing. But as the industry continues to evolve, so too will the conversations around it. Will we see more regulations to protect the players? Will developers find a new, less controversial way to monetize their games? I doubt it on the last one. Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, the gacha will keep on pulling us, because as long as there are stories to be told, characters to be collected, and a little bit of luck to be had, the gacha train will keep on rolling. That's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the trip down gacha memory lane. Let me know down in the comments what are some of your most memorable gacha moments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of gacha gaming. And as always, may your gacha pools be blessed.